Hi class, this is Professor Harmony Kim. As like Chinese patriarch, the Buddhist Dharma was passed to Korea as you see in this list. From the fact that Buddhism entered the Silla kingdom since 57 BCE, you will study the route of Buddhism entered the Korean peninsula and what kind of Buddhism was introduced in addition to Chinese Chan Buddhism. Before we go into Korean patriarch in detail, let's examine the history of the introduction of Buddhism in Korean peninsula. I mean whether Korea only received Buddhism from China, which transmitted Buddhism from India or Central Asia, or any other route existed to introduce Buddhism in Korean peninsula. In Korean peninsula, 3 kingdoms were established since 37 BCE until 667 CE. 3 kingdoms were named Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla. The left panel shows 3 kingdoms in the latter half of the 6th century CE. However, in addition to 3 kingdoms such as Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla, there was one more kingdom called Gaya Kingdom. You can see Gaya Kingdom here. Gaya Kingdom existed from 100 BCE until 562 CE, and later Gaya Kingdom absorbed into Baekje or Silla once Gaya Kingdom was defeated by the war against Silla and Goguryeo. Since Gaya Kingdom came to an end earlier than any other kingdom, Korean peninsula formed 3 kingdom system until the 7th century CE. However, we cannot rule out the significance of the introduction of Buddhism to Gaya Kingdom. That's the reason why you will study what is the route to bring Buddhism to Gaya Kingdom, what kind of Buddhism arrived in Gaya Kingdom, and when was the timeline to introduce Buddhism to Gaya Kingdom. After 3 kingdom period, Silla unified 3 kingdom, and unified Silla survived for nearly 3 centuries and for a time along with the Tang dynasty in China. Unified Silla was more advanced than probably any area of Europe except for the Byzantine Empire. The Goguryeo once defeated by Silla, and it converted into Balhae. So Balhae was established by the people of Goguryeo and existed from 698 until 926. Then Balhae became overthrown by the Khitan. So we will think about how Buddhism could be transformed along the change of these kinds of nations. So starting from 3 kingdoms, followed by unified Silla, followed by Korea. Unified Silla came to an end in 935 CE, and Goryeo dynasty governed Korean peninsula. And 84,000 Mahayana Buddhist sutras were carved on the wooden block called Korean Tripitaka and kept in Haeinsa Temple in Korea up to now, and those Korea Tripitaka was made during this Goryeo dynasty. Here it is. The Tripitaka Korean, first carved by Korean Buddhist scholars in 1011 CE during Koryo Dynasty. Tripitaka Koreana is a set of 84,000 wood blocks engraved with Buddhist treatises, laws, and scriptures. These wooden blocks contain the oldest and most complete version of the Buddhist canon, and the Tripitaka Korean is viewed as one of the most important Buddhist collections in the world. Let's go back and study Gaya Kingdom first, which might show the earliest event of accepting Buddhism outside the Korean peninsula. The foundation of Gaya Kingdom had been laid out from the 1st century BC, and its culture prospers in the 3rd and 4th century CE. I will briefly introduce the history of Gaya Kingdom to figure out the economic background in which Gaya Kingdom was considered a strong nation in terms of trading irons, IRONs, through sea route, even including the transmission of Buddhism from India. The capital city of Gaya Kingdom was called Gimhae, which rose as an important international port for trading iron in East and South Asia. So, Gaya Kingdom was located in this region. It looked like a delta shape, and Nakdong River runs through the east side of Gaya here, and Somjin River runs the west side of Gaya Kingdom. The bottom side faces the sea, which facilitates marine transportation. The first king of Gaya Kingdom was Kim Suro. The scale, distribution, and age of ancient tombs, the quantity and quality of burial accessories, and the regional origins of relics all reveal the sophistication and grandeur of Gaya Kingdom. So this is the tomb of the first king of Gaya Kingdom, named Kim Suro. Now, from the excavation of kings' tombs, these are found. The Gaya's iron armor were found from the tomb. In other words, the kingdom of Gaya explored advanced technology of smelting irons. These are the iron cover the horse head. Gaya Kingdom possessed abundance of iron ore, and China, Japan, and in any other country of East Asia also possessed iron ore. However, owning iron ore does not mean that you can have a strong iron implement. Gaya Kingdom possessed advanced technique for smelting irons. You can see archetype of cavalry. The abundant quantity of iron enabled to make iron armors for warriors and even horses. Gaya Kingdom could have organized army thanks to the delicate craftsmanship. Gaya Kingdom boasted flourished in iron culture and earning itself the name of Kingdom of Iron. So the iron made in Gaya Kingdom was so famous in China, Vietnam, Japan, even in any other countries of East and South Asia. Therefore, active trading took place in Gaya Kingdom from the appearance of coins in the king's tomb. You can see the left side coin named Hwachon. The right panel shows Wangman. The most common forms of money were hwacheon and wangman. Hwacheon was a coin used during the reign of Wangman. The period of Wangman is about from 7 to 22 CE. Wangman coins were used during the reign of Wangman, that is 7 to 22 CE. It shows knife-shaped metal coin during the reign of Wangman era. Also, the Chinese history book named Samgukji, and there are many sections, and in a section of Byungjin in the Chinese history book Samgukji says that as this country means Gaya Kingdom, produces iron, all the peoples of Han, Ye, and Wa came and buy it. All sales and purchases are made in iron, as if it were money in China. So iron acts like money. And iron was also supplied to 2 counties. This record indicates that the ancient Gyeongsangnam-bukdo area in Korea was already trading iron with several regions since the 3 Han state era. Such trade with Ye, Wa, and 2 counties of Nangrang and Daebang would have involved the use of sea route. So here is Nangrang and Daebang County is here, and here's Gaya Kingdom, and Gaya Kingdom commit trade in iron in Japan and China, and maybe even further down Southeast Asia. The path of cultural diffusion to the south could not have been done by land, rather by sea. Trading in iron was held international from Gaya Kingdom to East, South Asia, including China, Japan, and even Vietnam. The first king of Gaya Kingdom, Kim Su-ro, established the Kingdom of Gaya, ruled in the federal system, not in centralized system. The king, Kim Su-ro, married with Ho Hwang-ok. Ho Hwang-ok claimed to come from India around 48 CE. The surname of Kim in Korea is the most popular last name of people in Korea nowadays, and they are descendants of King Kim Su-ro. By the way, who is Ho Hwang-ok? Ho Hwang-ok arrived at Kimhae port. Kimhae is the capital city of Gaya Kingdom around 48 CE with her brother and several merchants by ship. So you might think that, oh, merchant, maybe these merchants using sea route rather than inland route. Ho Hwang-ok's brother was named Jang Hwa-sang, and later Jang Hwa-sang built Buddhist temple in Gaya Kingdom. They came from India, Ayodhya in India. I will talk about Ayodhya a little bit later. Ho Hwang-ok gave birth of 10 sons from marriage with King Kim Su-ro. 2 sons initiated the clan of Kim Hae-her from the marriage. People in Korea with the surname of Her are descent from King Kim Su-ro and Queen Ho Hwang-ok since Gaya Kingdom. 7 sons out of 10 sons enlightened in Seven Buddha's temple located in Hadong of Korea. Hadong is the name of city in Korea. I mentioned that Hohangho came from Ayodhya. Ayodhya is an ancient city on the bank of Saraju located near modern Fyzabad. Ayodhya was the capital of the kingdom of Kosala. It is considered one of the seven sacred Hindu cities. How could we believe all these events as a convincing record? There are two kinds of chronicles. One is Samguksagi, the other is Samgukyusa. Samguksagi record history of three kingdoms written by Kim Bu-sik in the Koryo period. Samguksagi is a historical record of Koguryo, Baekje, and Shilla. Its compilation was ordered by Koryo's King Injong in 1145. Samguksagi is well known as the oldest extant chronicles of Korean history. Samgukyusa is another chronicles and contains the legend and history of three kingdoms written by Ilyon Snim. Ilyon, the monk name is Ilyon, in the Koryo period. It was written in the late Koryo period. In the Garakukki section of Samgukyusa, Hohangok was reported coming from Ayodhya in India. This is the Queen Hohangok's tomb and tombstone. Ayodhya, I mentioned that the location of Ayodhya is here, an ancient city on the bank of the Saraju located near modern Fyzabad. It was the capital of the kingdom of Kosala. It is considered one of the seven sacred Hindu cities. Actually, Ayodhya was the place where Xuanzang also visited. Ayodhya was the home of Mahayana idealism, the fountainhead of Yogacara Buddhism. Ayodhya was the place where the brothers Asanga and Vasubandhu had composed their sutras and expounded Yogacara idealism in the 5th century. When the two brothers had come to Ayodhya, Vasubandhu still remained faithful to many early Buddhist ideas. Later, Vasubandhu converted to the pure idealism of Mahayana. Xuanzang also attracted to mind-only philosophy at Ayodhya. However, a dramatic incident took place in Ayodhya, and this event eventually put an end to Xuanzang's journey in Ayodhya. Xuanzang left a record in Ayodhya like this. 636 CE, any week. Time is unimportant to the unsuspecting pilgrim. The banks of Ganges River. The pilgrim is going with 80 people in a boat down the river. 10 boats filled with pirated attack and force them ashore. Then pirates notice how handsome Xuanzang is, and pirate decide that Xuanzang is the perfect specimen for their annual sacrifice of human flesh and blood to their god Durga. But Xuanzang appeals to their chief like this: if this poor and defiled body is suitable for sacrifice, then I dare not grudge this offering. As my intention in coming such a distance is to pay reverence to the image of the Buddha and to inquire as to the character of sacred books and Buddhist doctrine. If you kill this body of mine, I fear it will bring you misfortune. The pirate captain pays no heed and orders his men to tie up Xuanzang. Then Xuanzang, with undivided mind, thinks on the Bodhisattva Maitreya and earnestly pray to be born in the Tushita heaven that he may hear the most holy words of Buddhism and attain perfect understanding, so that Xuanzang might take his departure with a joyous spirit. Suddenly, a black typhoon arises. The pirates are terrified by this miracle, and they said, "Who is this man?" they ask. When they are told that Xuanzang is a famous monk from China, the pirate asks his forgiveness. Xuanzang pardons them. Based on this episode, we can suspect that there were pirates and thieves hanging around in Ganges River in Ayodhya. Is there any other evidence to show that the connection between Ayodhya and Gaya kingdom? So we can believe Hwangok really came from Ayodhya to Gaya kingdom. In Ayodhya, you can see paired fish design of Ayodhya in the current era. So here's badge of a policeman, the badge on head of a policeman with paired fish design of Ayodhya even in present era. In the license plate of a car, you can find paired fish mark. Here's paired fish mark. Also, at the entrance of building, you can see also here's fish head and here's fish tail. Here's one fish and you can see another fish. Here's a fish head and here's fish tail. You can see paired fish symbol even in a new building nowadays. You can see paired fish design. Here's King Kimsuro's tomb, and there's some small house. This house keep the incense and kits or materials required for ritual. And you can see paired fish design in King's tomb here, and this is magnified paired fish design, and here's close to the roof of this house you can see paired fish mark. It is really hard to believe that they are just coincidental accident without any interaction. In the current era with advanced high technology of internet, it is easy to find and imitate certain design by searching for other countries. However, during the 1st century CE, it is impossible to find similar design without contact or interaction. So there must be some connection from Ayodhya to Gaya kingdom. And here's Buddhist temple named Gaewon-am in Yangsan City. Yangsan City was located in Gaya kingdom. Nowadays, it is located in Gyeongsangnam-do. And in this temple, you can find this paired fish design. And this temple was built during Gaya period. So, Ayodhya in India, you can see a paired fish design and paired fish symbol in the small house nearby King Kimsuro's tomb. The exact same motif. Again, here's paired fish symbol even in a new building nowadays. And here's again in small house nearby King Kimsuro's tomb. And this coincidental event prove that there is no doubt in terms of a connection from Ayodhya to Gaya kingdom. The exact same motif of a paired fish design induces the plausibility of traveling from India to Gaya kingdom. As Samguk Yusa recorded that Ho Hwangok arrived at Kimhae port, she took the sea route rather than inland road. Maybe the sea route she took could be the maritime Silk Road by which Yixing, one of Chinese pilgrims, followed to take later in the 7th century CE. From Ayodhya, somewhere here, and took Ganges River and sailed into the sea, continued to Sumatra, then traveling Gwangju, and then from Gwangju to Kimhae in Gaya kingdom. From Ayodhya through Ganges River, sailing to Sumatra, then traveling to Gwangju, and then to Kimhae in Gaya kingdom. This is part of maritime trade route, which is called a maritime Silk Road. In Samguk Yusa, some of the stone used at the queen's tomb is said to have come all the way from India. In other words, the stones used for queen's tomb never be found in Korea. It is said that Ho Hwangok brought the stone pagoda on the east of the royal tomb from India to calm down the wind and waves. It is called Pasa Stone Pagoda. A legend says that when a person to be on board a ship passes this pagoda, he or she will be safe during the journey. The pagoda has been severely damaged, and now it is protected by a pavilion. What kind of Buddhism has been brought by Ho Hwangok? Her hometown, Ayodhya, was the place where Vasubandhu explored Yogacara Buddhism in the 7th century CE. Before 7th century CE, early Buddhism was propagated in Ayodhya. It was 87 CE when Ho Hwangok arrived at Gaya kingdom. Therefore, it is highly likelihood that early Buddhism could be introduced to Gaya kingdom when Ho Hwangok arrived at Gaya kingdom. I mentioned that Ho Hwangok arrived at Gaya kingdom with her brother Jangyu Hwasang, and Jangyu Hwasang built Eunhasa temple in Kimhae. So Ho Hwangok's brother was a monk, and the monk Jangyu Hwasang built the temple after studying Buddhism in India. Also, Hohangok gave birth of 10 sons, and 7 out of 10 sons practiced meditation in the deep forest of Hadong, where the Buddhist temple named Chilbulsa. If I translate word by word of Chilbulsa, Chil means 7, Bul means Buddha. So 7 sons become Buddha by practicing meditation in this Chilbulsa temple. As Gaya kingdom became prosperous by way of iron trade, trading in iron, there was the fight for the continental and marine powers. The union between Gaya, Baekje, and Japan, which was formed by way of iron trade, was broken up, and this led the intercontinental blockade to the three kingdoms. Goguryeo lost economic power by inland trade due to Gaya's marine power by iron trade. Therefore, Koguryeo's attack on Gaya was resulted from economic war for survival, and this economic warfare eventually forced Gaya kingdom to decline. The capital of Gaya kingdom, Kimhae, was referred to as an international port for trading in iron until the 5th century CE. Gaya kingdom took control of producing and distributing iron weapons and implements to East Asia until Kimhae no longer functioned as a port once Goguryeo attacked Gaya. It was 400 CE when Goguryeo attacked Gaya kingdom. Many Gaya people moved to Japan in the early 5th century CE and contributed to the development of ancient Japanese civilization. Influences from Indian Buddhism reached the southern area of Korean peninsula, not by land, but by way of maritime trade routes. Let's think about the transmission of Buddhism into the rest 3 kingdoms. Let's think about Goguryeo kingdom first. Buddhism was brought to Goguryeo by Sundo, who was a Chinese and studied Vimalakirti Sutra. Sundo was followed Pure Land Buddhism and proposed that salvation through Amitabha could be achieved simply through Amitabha's name. Sundo's writings would have a strong impact on the Pure Land Buddhism movement in Japan later. Baekje in this green color area. Baekje was one of 3 kingdoms during 18 BC to 660 CE. It was located in southwestern Korea. In the late 4th century CE, Malalanta was a Buddhist monk from the region of Gandhara in modern-day Pakistan and part of Afghanistan. So this Buddhist monk named Malananta brought Buddhism to Baekje in 384 CE. Buddhism was transmitted to Korea via China in the late 4th century. It have been said that Baekje king and royals had ambiguity on Vinaya, so they attempted to invite Indian monk who stayed in China during the 4th century CE. The Baekje king sent an emissary, in other words, a diplomatic representative to China to invite Malananta. When Malananta arrived at the palace of Baekje Kingdom, the king welcomes Malananta by waiting for him at the entrance of the palace. It's been told that Malananta brought several Vinaya texts to Baekje. Vinaya discipline was introduced to Baekje. In 526, the Baekje monk Gyomig traveled directly to central India and came back with a collection of Vinaya texts, accompanied by the Indian monk named Pedartha. After returning to Baekje, the monk Gyomig translated the Buddhist scriptures in Sanskrit into 72 volumes. The Gyeyul school in Baekje was established by Gyomig about a century earlier than its counterpart in China. As a result of his work, the monk Gyomig is regarded as the father of Vinaya studies in Korea. It seems that Baekje Kingdom emphasized Vinaya discipline among Tripitaka. What about Silla Kingdom? Buddhism did not enter the kingdom of Silla until the 5th century CE. In 527 CE, a prominent court official named Ichadon announced that he had become Buddhist. Silla Kingdom was unfriendly to Buddhism, so the king had Ichadon beheaded because there was resistance among the aristocrats. But when the executioner cut off Ichadon's head, it is said that milk poured out instead of blood. After this accident, the growth of Buddhism was encouraged and eventually recognized as the national religion of Silla. The monk Jajang is credited with having been a major force in the adoption of Buddhism as a national religion. Jajang is also known for his participation in the founding of the Korean monastic Sangha. What kind of Buddhist schools were popular during Three Kingdoms period? The school name Sanlun is East Asian Madhyamika school focused on Madhyamika doctrine. Gyeyul school, established by the monk Gyomig. Gyeyul school is Vinaya school, was mainly concerned with the study and implementation of Sila or moral discipline. Yalban school is Nirvana school based in the theme of Mahaparinirvana Sutra. Wanyung school, another word, Yunrong school, formed toward the end of Three Kingdoms period. This school led to the actualization of the metaphysics of interpenetration as found in the Avatamsaka Sutra and was considered the premier school, especially among the educated aristocracy. Hwaom School, another name, Hwayan School, was the longest lasting of the imported schools. Hwaom School had strong ties with the Popseong. Popseong is an indigenous Korean school of thought. In 668 CE, The kingdom of Silla succeeded in unifying the whole Korean peninsula, giving rise to a period of political stability that lasted for about 300 years under unified Silla. This led to a high point in scholarly studies of Buddhism in Korea. The most popular areas of study were Yushik, or East Asian Yogacara, Jongto, or Pure Land Buddhism, and the indigenous Korean Bopsong. Bopsong means Dharma Nature School. There were popular venerables who influenced unified Silla on Buddhist ideas. One who taught the Pure Land practice of Yeonbul, which would become very popular among both scholars and lay people, and a lasting influence on Buddhist thought in Korea. Won-hyo attempted a synthesis of the seemingly divergent strands of Indian and Chinese Buddhist doctrine, and he attempted to make use of the essence-function framework which was popular in native East Asian philosophical schools. His work was instrumental in the development of the dominant school of Korean Buddhist thought known variously as Bopsong, Hadong, and later as Jongdo. Won-hyo's friend Eusang studied in China under Huayan Patriarch Ziyan and Fazang. When Eusang returned after 20 years from China, his work contributed to Hwaeom Buddhism and became the predominant doctrinal influence on Korean Buddhism together with Won-hyo's Tongbulgyo thought. Hwaeom principles were deeply assimilated into the Korean meditation-based Sun School, where they made a profound effect on its basic attitude. Haecho Snim traveled to India by sea route in 723 CE. Let's look at Haecho Snim first. Haecho Snim was a Buddhist monk from Silla. Haecho Snim studied in China and met Indian monk named Vajrabodhi, who praised Haecho as one of 6 living persons who were well trained in the 5 sections of the Buddhist canon. So it seems that Buddhist canon Tripitaka in early Buddhism already present during Three Kingdom period. Maybe He Hwang-ok from India brought Tripitaka? It's not obviously proved, but we can speculate it. Baekje Kingdom emphasized of Vinaya discipline, and in Silla Kingdom, some monastic named Haecho Snim already well trained in 5 sections of Buddhist canon. This can imply early Buddhist canon Tripitaka maybe already exist in Korean peninsula, although it might not be perfect, complete form. Let's go back to Haecho Snim. On the advice of his Indian teachers in China, Haecho traveled to India in 723 CE. During his journey of India, Haecho wrote a travelogue in Chinese named Memoir of the Pilgrimage to the 5 Kingdoms of India. Another name is Wang-o Cheonchuk-gukjeon in Korean. Haecho Snim arrived in India by sea. headed to the India kingdoms of Magadha, then moved on to visit Kushinagar and Varanasi. 해초 스님이 continued to travel to visit Lumbini, Kashmir, the Arab. 해초 스님 left India following the Silk Road toward the west, via Karashar to China, where the account ends in 729 CE. It took 해초 스님 approximately 5 to 6 years to complete his journey. 해초 스님 witnessed the decline of Buddhism in India. It was 8th century CE, so Hinduism take over Buddhism in India. 해초 스님 observed the decline of Buddhism in India. The travelogue was lost for many years until a fragment of it was rediscovered in the Mogao cave in China in 1908. The bottom panel shows the fragment of the travelogue discovered in the Mogao cave in 1908. 해초 스님's work title, that is the 5 Indian kingdoms, refer to West, East, North, South, and Central India. The book contains information about the political, cultural, and economic customs of India and Central Asia at the time. Here is the important saying from 해초's work related to his visit Kapisa in 726 CE. I hope you can remember Kapisa, where Xuanzang also visited. 해초 스님 reported that the country was ruled by a Turk king, and his queen and dignitaries practiced Buddhism. 해초 스님 stated that from Kashmir, I again entered the mountains. After 8 days' journey, I arrived at the country of Kapisa. This country is also under the authority of the king of Gandhara. During the summer, the king comes to Kapisa and resides here because of the cool temperature. The natives of the country are barbarian people. The king and the cavalry are Turk. The people of this country greatly revere the 3 jewels. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, 3 jewels. There are many monasteries and monks. The common people compete in constructing monasteries and supporting the 3 jewels. At present, the curly hair and the relic bones of the Buddha are to be seen in the monasteries. The king, the official, and the common people daily worship these relics. Hinayana Buddhism, in other words, early Buddhism, is practiced in this country. The land is situated in the mountains. 원효 스님. With 원효 스님's life spanning the end of 3 kingdoms of Korea and the beginning of unified Silla, 원효 스님 played a vital role in the reception and assimilation of the broad range of doctrinal Buddhist streams that flowed in the Korean peninsula at the time. In other words, maybe Indian type of Buddhism, Chinese type of Buddhism, maybe Central Asia type of Buddhism. So, broad range of doctrinal Buddhist streams. In other words, some mind-only school like Yogacara school or emptiness proposed by Madhyamika school. All these broad range of doctrinal Buddhist streams, 원효 스님 harmonized them and Wonhyo Snim was most interested in and affected by Buddha nature, East Asian Yogacara, and Hwaeom thought. However, in his extensive scholarly works, composed as commentaries and essays, Wonhyo Snim embraced the whole spectrum of the Buddhist teachings which were received in Korea, including such schools as Pure Land Buddhism, East Asian Madhyamika, and the Tiantai. Wonhyo Snim attempted a synthesis of the seemingly divergent strands of Indian and Chinese Buddhist doctrine, make use of the essence-function framework, which was popular in native East Asian philosophical schools, and it was called Tongbulgyo doctrine. Eusang Snim was one of the most eminent early Silla Korean scholar monks. Eusang Snim was a close friend of Wonhyo Snim. Eusang Snim traveled to China, studying as a student of the influential Huayan master Jian. Eusang Snim established a lifelong correspondence with Jian. Eusang Snim became an expert in Huayan doctrine and was the founder of the Korean Hwaeom school. Most well known among his writings is 법성계 or Hwaeom 일승 법계도. That is, diagram of the Avatamsaka single vehicle Dharmadhatu. The Hwaeom 일승 법성계 is a commentary on his mandala-like diagram 해인도, another word ocean seal, which consists of 210 Chinese characters that express the essence of the Huayan doctrine. This diagram symbolizes the 52 stages in the Bodhisattva path toward Buddhahood as taught in the Avatamsaka Sutta. Understanding Korean Buddhism reminds us of the four great figures. First, Venerable Wonhyo. Venerable Wonhyo is named State Preceptor Hwajeng. Wonhyo was renowned for his doctrinal thought, Hwajeng ideology. This means unifying various arguments with a peaceful method in salvation of people. Wonhyo Snim emphasized that there is no wrong way to achieve one truth. If Chan Buddhism itself has merit, then non-Chan Buddhism also has its own merit. Therefore, it is not wrong to follow Chan, which is the Buddha did, and also it is not wrong to focus on what the Buddha said. There is only the Buddha, the truth, not words and action separately. Through Wonhyo Snim, Korean Buddhism also tends to unify, and it is one of the central values of Korean Buddhism today. So Wonhyo Snim embrace meditation or studying or discipline, harmonizing together. We call that Tongbulgyo. Second great figure is Venerable Eusang. Eusang Snim is great master of the Avatamsaka Sutra and pedagogical role model who was respected for his training of disciples. The third great master is Venerable Jinul, also known as State Preceptor Bojo, who revitalized Korean Son Buddhism through the retreat society movement of the Mid-Goryeo dynasty. The last great master is Venerable Hyuzong, also known as State Preceptor Seosan, who helped to overcome national disaster while simultaneously regularizing Korean Buddhist practice and education. In the Silla and Goryeo period, these 9 schools of Korean Son became collectively known as Joge Order in reference to the Son school that had inherited the Dharma of the 6th patriarch Hanung. Venerable Jinul, which we saw in the previous slide, also known as State Preceptor Bojo, revitalized Korean Son Buddhism through the retreat society movement of Mid-Goryeo dynasty. The Son Dharma entered Korea at the end of the Silla kingdom and the start of the Goryeo dynasty. Korean monks who had studied in Tang, China, received the Chan transmission and returned to teach in Korea. Most of their Chinese teachers were Hanung's disciples. In Korea, these monks formed the Gusan Sonmun, or the 9 mountain schools of Korean Son. In the Goryeo period, these 9 schools of Korean Son became known as the Joge Order. Venerable Jinul, known as State Preceptor Bojo, revitalized Korean Son Buddhism. As like Chinese patriarch, the Buddhist Dharma was passed to Korea, as you see in this list. From the fact that Buddhism entered Gaya Kingdom, which began 48 CE, Buddhism continued to propagate throughout the nation, such as Goguryeo, Baekje, Silla, Unified Silla, and Goryeo. Next time, you will study how Korean Son Buddhism differ from Chinese Chan Buddhism, and this Korean Son Buddhism is authentic compared to the Buddha's teaching in early Buddhism. These topics will be focused in next week's lecture. First quiz: which is true? Buddhism arrived in Korea from China only? Buddhism arrived in Korea by way of inland Silk Road only? Or only maritime Buddhism? Or land or sea route of Silk Road? You know the answer. Who traveled to India from Silla Kingdom? You can find the answer from this lecture video. Who proposed an ideology of a synthesis of the seemingly divergent strands of Indian and Chinese Buddhist doctrines by unifying various arguments with a peaceful method for salvation of a people? This monk also emphasized that there is no wrong way to achieve one truth. Who proposed this idea? So same way, and also include your email address. Please write down your last name, comma, followed by first name, and you need to include the answer of quiz. The due is August 28th. This is the end of lecture this week.